The wind stirs the tall grass in the vast open plains of the Karoo. Late afternoon. A leopard lies motionless beneath a twisted thorn tree, its body stretched out in an unnatural stillness. A deep gash runs along its side, blood staining the earth beneath it, the wound fresh and still raw. There is no sign of movement except for the occasional twitch of its tail. The quiet is unsettling, but the stillness is the most telling. This is a predator caught in a moment of desperation. The ranger, Jocko, stands a short distance away, his eyes scanning the scene with practiced focus. He knows this is a life-or-death moment, but there's something more at stake here. The quiet dignity of a creature in pain. Jocko moves slowly, deliberately, his boots pressing softly into the dust as he approaches. His gaze stays fixed on the leopard, watching for any sign of aggression or fear. The animal is not attacking. It is not running, even though it could. It is just there, breathing in shallow gasps, struggling to remain conscious. Jocko feels the weight of his responsibility. This animal, alone and vulnerable, needs help, but the help must come quietly, with respect. Too much movement might frighten it, but if he waits too long, the blood loss may prove fatal. If he makes the wrong choice, the leopard might slip away quietly, never to be seen again. The wound seems deep, the blood pooling beneath it. The leopard's golden eyes flicker open briefly, and Jocko can see the pain there. A flash of fear, then a flicker of recognition, as if the leopard knows that help is near but cannot yet trust it. Jocko kneels to the ground, lowering himself into a position that will feel less threatening. His hands rest on his thighs, palms open, a gesture of calm. The leopard's eyes meet his for a split second, the animal's head tilting slightly as if studying him. For a moment, time seems to stand still, each of them waiting for the other to make the first move. Jocko's breath slows and his mind clears. He understands the stakes now. If the leopard runs, it may not survive the journey. If it stays, there is a chance, but the wound is severe. He must act. But how? Each step he takes will be a decision made with precision. The human touch, so foreign to the leopard, could be the thing that keeps it alive, or it could push it further into isolation and fear. There is no room for error here, no margin for hesitation. Jocko moves forward, inching closer. His movements slow and unthreatening. The leopard's eyes remain fixed on him, the pain still evident but accompanied by a flicker of something else, a spark of trust, or perhaps simply the survival instinct of a creature desperate for relief. The air feels thick with the gravity of the situation. Jocko watches the leopard's breathing, its tense, fragile body. He wonders briefly if it knows this is its moment of choice, whether it will allow him to help or make the decision to flee. The balance between life and death is fragile in the wild, and Jocko feels it keenly. The sun dips lower in the sky, casting a soft amber light across the plains. Jocko kneels beside the wounded leopard, the air still and heavy with the weight of the moment. The leopard's chest rises and falls in shallow breaths, its gaze still fixed on him. Though now there's something different in its eyes, a quiet curiosity. The sharpness of the earlier tension has dulled, replaced by a tentative stillness. The leopard's body is tense, but there's no longer the frantic energy of fear. It's as if the animal, in its pain, has decided to stay, to see what this strange, soft presence might bring. Jocko doesn't move for a long time. His hands rest on his thighs, open and vulnerable. He watches the leopard's every movement, his heart pounding in his chest. It's not the wound he's worried about now. It's the trust. He knows that the smallest wrong move could send the leopard running again, could destroy any hope of saving it. But in the stillness of the moment, something changes. The leopard's muscles, once coiled tight, begin to relax, its eyes softening slightly. There's a faint twitch of its tail, a quiet acknowledgement of his presence. For Jocko, it's a sign. It's the first step toward healing. Not just the wound, but the creature's spirit. He leans in a little closer, inching forward with the slow, deliberate movements of someone who understands the fragility of the moment. The leopard's eyes track him, the golden hue flickering with uncertainty. But it doesn't pull away. The silence between them feels almost sacred, a fragile bond forming in the shared stillness. Jocko remains calm, his breath steady, his thoughts focused entirely on the animal before him. If the leopard lets him get closer, it might survive. If it doesn't, it could slip away. The weight of the choice is heavy on Jocko's shoulders. He knows the risks. Too fast, too much, and the leopard will bolt, and with it, the possibility of saving it. But Jocko is careful. His movements are slow and measured. He doesn't reach out yet. He simply stays close, offering nothing but his presence. The leopard's head shifts slightly, as though weighing him, the softest noise escaping from its throat. It's a sound so small, so brief, that for a moment Jocko wonders if it was even real. But the silence that follows is different now. There's a quiet acceptance in the air, an understanding between them that wasn't there before. Minutes stretch out like hours, the sun sinking lower in the sky. The leopard seems to relax further, the tension in its body slowly ebbing away. It shifts slightly, bringing its injured leg closer beneath its body, but it doesn't move away. Jocko allows himself to breathe, a quiet exhale slipping from his lips. He hasn't touched the leopard, hasn't made any attempt to move it. He simply waits. The trust isn't in a dramatic gesture, but in these small, subtle moments. It's in the leopard's decision to stay, to not flee. The air shifts again, the temperature dropping slightly as evening falls. The moment feels fragile, but it's also full of quiet potential. Jocko's mind remains focused. He knows he must make the next move soon, but he waits. He allows the animal to decide. There's no rush. If the leopard chooses to accept his help, the next few hours will be critical. If it doesn't, it might never trust again. And so, Jocko stays, kneeling beside the wounded creature, every instinct attuned to the smallest signs. There is no great moment of realization, no sudden breakthrough. There is only this, a quiet decision, a soft shift in the air. Slowly, very slowly, the leopard's head drops lower, its body sinking deeper into the earth, a quiet signal that it is ready, that it has decided to trust, even if just for this moment. The sky deepens into dusk as the sun's last light fades behind the distant mountains, casting the plains into a quiet, cooling darkness. The wounded leopard lies still, its shallow breaths the only movement in the silent expanse. Jocko stays close, watching, observing every slight shift in the animal's body, every flicker of its gaze. The leopard's tail twitches occasionally, but the stillness has returned. There is no resistance now, no desperate attempt to flee. The quiet decision to stay remains, but so does the pain. Its side, bloodied and raw, hasn't stopped bleeding, and each breath the leopard takes seems harder than the last. Jocko's hand is still resting on his thigh, and he breathes evenly, calming himself. The leopard has allowed him this proximity, but trust, he knows, can be a fleeting thing. One wrong move, one sign of force, and it could bolt into the wilderness, leaving behind only the risk of infection, the certainty of death. Jocko's thoughts are clear. If he doesn't act now, the chance of survival grows slimmer with each passing minute. The wound must be cleaned, the bleeding controlled. But how much can he do without causing further stress? Jocko feels the weight of the decision. The leopard has remained still, its muscles tight with fatigue and fear, but it hasn't moved away. If Jocko hesitates, the animal's condition will worsen. If he takes too long, it may become too weak to fight, unable to defend itself from predators or even from the elements. He knows the stakes. The leopard's life is in his hands now. He cannot afford to wait much longer. As if sensing the shift in his intent, the leopard shifts its position slightly, curling its body in toward itself. Its head lowers, eyes fluttering closed, exhaustion overtaking it. This change isn't an escape but a sign of surrender. The animal is no longer bracing against the pain in the way it had before. It is offering Jocko this fragile moment of peace, a small, fleeting gesture of trust. But even as Jocko recognizes this moment, the reality of the situation cuts through. He cannot afford to be sentimental. The decision has to be made now. He moves his hands carefully, shifting the supplies he brought with him closer. His fingers feel the rough fabric of the bandages, the antiseptic swab, and the instruments that could save this animal's life. His first motion is slow, a soft, deliberate movement to not startle the leopard. He reaches out toward the animal, his touch gentle on the ground near the leopard's side. The leopard's body stiffens briefly, but it doesn't pull away. The tension is still there, but it is softer now, less desperate. Jocko can hear his own breath, steady and measured as he prepares to make contact. Every movement has to be deliberate, every step calculated. The leopard's side is bloodied, but the wound itself is not deep enough to be immediately fatal. If Jocko cleans the wound, applies pressure to stop the bleeding, and dresses it carefully, there is a chance that the leopard might heal. But the risks are still high. The animal's survival depends on how well it can handle the treatment and how much stress it can bear without giving up altogether. Jocko moves closer, his hand hovering just over the leopard's side. He waits for another sign, some further indication that the animal will allow him to act. The leopard's breathing remains shallow but steady. A quiet moment passes, and Jocko takes the first step, a careful, gentle touch against the wounded side. The leopard does not flinch. Its body trembles, but it doesn't resist. There's a sharp contrast between the silence and the urgency now pressing in on Jocko. Every second that ticks by feels like an eternity, and yet there is no turning back now. He begins to work, the antiseptic swab meeting the wound. The air is thick with the scent of blood and the soft sound of the leopard's movements, but still, it does not fight. The calmness is a stark reminder of how much is at stake, how little room there is for error. Jocko's actions are swift but controlled, never forceful, always mindful of the animal's fragile state. The bandages go on, one layer at a time, pressed gently into place. The leopard's breathing has slowed slightly, the tension in its body easing, as if the simple act of treatment is something it can accept, even if just for now. With each movement, Jocko feels the weight of what he is doing. Not saving this leopard, not yet, but giving it a chance. A real chance. As he finishes, he stands back and watches. The leopard's body remains still, its head resting on the ground, eyes closed as though in quiet acceptance. The bleeding has stopped, the wound is covered, but Jocko knows that the danger isn't over. The real test is yet to come, whether the leopard can gather the strength to stand, to survive the night. The stillness of the moment is profound. In the distance, the soft wind rustles the grass, but for Jocko, it feels as though time has slowed to a crawl. He watches the leopard, his heart still pounding in his chest. He's done all he can for now. The rest is in the hands of the wild. The evening has settled in, the coolness of the air pressing in around Jocko and the wounded leopard. The last vestiges of daylight have disappeared, leaving behind a quiet, almost expectant darkness. Jocko remains crouched near the leopard, his body still, his breath slow. He has done what he can for now. The wound is cleaned and the bleeding is stopped. But it's the next step that matters most. The touch. It's this moment that could either deepen the trust or shatter it entirely. The leopard lies on the ground, its body still, its breathing quieter now. It hasn't moved since Jocko applied the bandage, but the animal's energy has shifted. The subtle twitch of its ear, the slight movement of its tail. Small signs that it is aware of him. even if it can't yet fully trust him. Jocko looks down at the leopard, his fingers twitching at his sides, knowing what needs to be done next. The leopard's chest rises and falls gently, a rhythm that has settled since the treatment, but it's fragile. The leopard has accepted the bandage, but whether it will accept Jocko's touch remains uncertain. This is the point of no return. One wrong movement could cause the leopard to withdraw, to feel threatened again, and the slow progress they've made might be lost. But Jocko knows that this gentle, respectful touch could make all the difference. If he can offer the leopard a sense of security now, he may gain something more than just its physical survival. Jocko's hand moves slowly, deliberately. He doesn't rush, doesn't push. His fingers hover above the leopard's side for a moment, then make contact. It's soft at first, just a feather-light touch against the leopard's warm, spotted coat. The animal tenses briefly, but then the tension softens, its muscles relaxing in response to the gentleness. Jocko doesn't move, holding the contact steady, offering no force, only presence. The leopard remains still beneath his touch, its body calm for the first time since Jocko arrived. For a long moment, nothing happens. No sudden movement, no sign of pain or discomfort. The leopard simply breathes, and Jocko waits. His fingers still resting lightly on its side, he feels the warmth of the animal's body beneath him, the steady rise and fall of its breath. In that moment, Jocko realizes the profound simplicity of this exchange. He isn't trying to heal the animal with his touch. He's offering reassurance, a small act of trust in the quiet space between them. The leopard's muscles, once tight and ready to flee, are now relaxed under his hand, a silent acknowledgement of the gentleness he's shown. Jocko's heart beats a little faster, but there's no urgency in his actions. There is only the quiet recognition that, for now, the leopard has decided to allow this closeness. The stillness that follows is punctuated only by the soft sound of the leopard's breathing, steady and shallow. The wind stirs the grass in the distance, but here, in this small circle of calm, the world feels still. Jocko watches the leopard carefully, noting the way its eyes stay half-lidded and the softness in its expression. He hasn't cured it, he hasn't made the animal well, but for a moment he has given it a space to rest, a place to feel secure, and that is all he can do for now. As Jocko gently removes his hand, he notices how the leopard shifts its body just slightly, almost as though it's stretching into the comfort of the touch, the absence of pain in its stillness. It's not much, but it's something. The soft touch has opened a door, a fragile bond formed in the quietest of ways. It doesn't guarantee survival. It doesn't promise anything. But it's a step forward, a quiet breakthrough in the most subtle of ways. Jocko leans back, his eyes never leaving the leopard. He doesn't need to rush now. The next step will come when the time is right. For now, the animal has accepted his presence, and, for the first time, there's a quiet sense of peace in the air. Jocko knows this is not the end of the journey. There are still risks, still challenges ahead, but for this moment the leopard is alive, and it is trusting. That is enough. The wind picks up again, soft against Jocko's face, as the leopard lies there, still and calm, breathing gently. The night begins to settle fully around them, the sounds of the reserve distant and muted. The moment between human and animal lingers quietly, like the last flicker of daylight fading slowly into the shadows. There is nothing more to be done right now. The rest is in the hands of time. The night has passed quietly, the moon a soft crescent hanging low in the sky, casting a dim light over the plains. The leopard lies still, its breathing more even now, the bandages on its side having stayed in place through the night. The wound, though deep, has begun to show signs of healing. The blood that once stained its fur has dried, leaving only a faint reminder of the injury. Jocko watches from a distance, his body still, his thoughts focused on the animal in front of him. He knows that the immediate danger has passed, but there is no triumph in this moment. The leopard remains vulnerable. Its body, though resting, is not yet strong. Jocko slowly rises to his feet, his movements deliberate, not wanting to startle the animal. The leopard stirs slightly, a soft exhale escaping its nostrils, and Jocko pauses, watching. The animal's eyes are closed, but the slightest shift in its body tells him it is aware of his presence. It has accepted his care, but the journey is far from over. The healing process will be slow, fragile, and uncertain. For now, the most Jocko can offer is patience, waiting to see if the leopard will gain the strength to rise, to move, and to return to the wild. He steps forward cautiously, his footsteps quiet on the earth, careful not to disrupt the stillness that surrounds them. The leopard's head turns slightly, eyes meeting his for a brief moment. There's no aggression in its gaze, only a quiet, weary acknowledgement. Its muscles are still tense, but it doesn't retreat, doesn't pull away. This moment, Jocko knows, is the true test of the trust they've built. It's not in the treatment, not in the bandages, but in this silent exchange. The leopard has accepted his touch, but whether it can survive the next few days or the next few weeks is something Jocko cannot control. The air is thick with the weight of the unspoken. Jocko has done everything he can, but now it's up to the leopard. If the animal's strength returns, it will stand, it will walk, and it will return to the wild it knows. But if it doesn't, if the injury proves too much, if the pain becomes unbearable, the leopard will slip away into the shadows as quietly as it had come. There is nothing more to do but wait. The day stretches on, and Jocko remains close, watching the leopard's every move. The wound has stopped bleeding, but there is a quiet sadness in the air. The hope for recovery feels as fragile as the breeze that stirs the tall grass. As the sun climbs higher, Jocko takes a step back, giving the leopard space. It hasn't moved much, but it has begun to shift its weight, testing the strength in its legs. Each small movement is a sign that perhaps there is more life left in this creature than it had shown the night before. But Jocko knows that healing is never so simple. The body heals, but the mind, the spirit, they carry the scars. The leopard will never be the same. It will walk again, perhaps, but the mark of this experience will remain. It's the quiet reality of wildlife rescue, that healing is not just about the wound, but about the animal's will to survive and its ability to trust again. And there, in the subtle movements, in the gentle shifts of its weight, Jocko can see both the strength and the fragility of the leopard. The leopard stands then, awkwardly at first, its legs unsteady beneath it. It stumbles, its injured side still tender, but it catches itself. The sun has reached its peak, casting long shadows across the ground. Jocko stands still, watching, his heart in his chest. The leopard's body trembles, its breath shallow, but it doesn't fall back to the ground. Instead, it takes another step, then another. Its tail sways gently behind it, its eyes fixed on the horizon. For a moment, Jocko stands there, watching the leopard take those first steps toward recovery. The bond they have shared, the trust, the care, has brought the animal to this point. But Jocko knows that the real journey is just beginning. This leopard will carry its past with it, even as it moves forward. The wound may heal, but the heartbreak remains, for the wild is never kind to those who are wounded. As the leopard moves further into the grass, Jocko takes a final step back. The animal's movements grow more confident, though the tremor of its body still lingers. The sky is softening into evening, and the world around them seems to exhale a quiet sigh. The leopard is moving forward, but for Jocko the feeling of peace is mixed with a quiet sorrow. There is no victory in this moment, only the weight of what comes next. The leopard disappears into the long grass, and Jocko is left standing in the quiet. The only sound, the soft rustle of the wind. The weight of the journey, of the animal's struggle, remains. But for now, it is enough that it is alive. The morning light has softened the harshness of the night, and the world around the leopard feels quieter, more peaceful. Jocko watches from a distance, his body still, his breath slow. The leopard remains where it was last night. A few feet from the thorn tree, its body finally relaxed. The tension that had once gripped its muscles has faded, though the leopard's eyes remain alert, tracking every movement around it. Its side, where the wound had been, still shows signs of the injury, but the bleeding has stopped. The bandage remains intact, but the healing process is far from over. The real test now is whether the leopard has the strength to move, to stand, and to reclaim its place in the wild. Jocko knows this is the most delicate part of the journey. The leopard has survived the worst of the wound, but there's still no guarantee it will make it. Every small movement counts. Jocko observes the leopard closely, noting the way it shifts its weight, the way it glances at the horizon as though weighing its next step. Its muscles tremble slightly. Still weak from the trauma, but there is no sign of panic. The leopard has chosen to remain still for now, its body still, though its eyes are no less watchful. It seems to be taking its time, considering the next move carefully. Jocko, understanding the weight of this decision, remains patient. He doesn't approach. There is no need. The leopard will choose its own path. If it stands, it stands. If it walks away, it walks away. If it chooses to stay, to rest longer, Jocko will respect that decision. There is no hurry. The leopard's survival depends not just on the healing of its body, but on its ability to move at its own pace and to trust its instincts again. The healing will not be complete until the leopard is free to choose its future. The leopard shifts again, its body adjusting, testing the limits of its injury. For a moment, it rises onto its forelegs, then hesitates. The weight shifts, and the leopard lowers itself back to the ground, as though gathering the strength it needs. The quiet tension remains, but Jocko sees the determination in the animal's eyes. It's not ready to leave yet, but it is not defeated. This small moment is everything. It's a sign that the leopard has decided to try again, to give itself the chance it deserves. Time passes slowly. The quiet of the plains stretches out, and the sun climbs higher in the sky. The leopard finally pushes itself up once more, this time standing fully, though its legs wobble beneath it. It's shaky at first, but the body responds to the will, and the leopard's muscles slowly adjust. Each step is careful and tentative, but it is moving, and with each step, the leopard draws closer to its independence, closer to returning to the wild. Jocko stands still, watching, his heart beating quietly in his chest. The weight of the moment feels enormous, though the actions themselves are simple. The leopard walks a few paces, then stops, its head turning back toward the ranger. There is no need for words between them now. The bond they share has been formed through the quiet of the past hours, through the gentleness and the patience. The leopard's gaze is steady, not fearful, not angry, but accepting. It takes one more cautious step, then another. Jocko watches as the animal, now more confident in its movements, takes its first few steps away from the spot where it had been injured. Its tail flicks once, as if to brush away the lingering weight of the past. With that, the leopard turns, disappearing slowly into the long grass. Jocko remains for a while longer, his eyes fixed on the place where the leopard had been, now swallowed by the wilderness. The air is still, and the sound of the wind through the grass is the only thing that fills the silence. The leopard has chosen to return to the world it knows, to continue its life in the wild, but it will never be the same. Neither will Jocko. The quiet trust and the shared moments of care have left their mark on both of them. The sun is now higher, casting a gentle warmth over the land, and Jocko finally turns away. He doesn't look back, but he knows the leopard's journey is far from over. The road ahead is uncertain, as it always is in the wild. But for now, the animal is free, and that is enough. The soft breeze stirs the grass as Jocko walks away, the quiet return of the leopard lingering in his heart. The day moves slowly toward its close, the sun beginning to dip behind the horizon, casting long shadows across the plains. The leopard has walked away from the spot where it had lain for so long, the place where it had been wounded, tended to, and left to rest. Now it moves with more purpose, its legs still unsteady but determined. Each step is careful and deliberate, though there is a quiet strength in the way it moves. The animal is beginning to trust its body again, the muscles no longer trembling as they had in the days before. Jocko watches from a distance, standing motionless at the edge of the clearing. His heart is quiet and steady, but inside there's a soft flutter. The leopard has come a long way, and yet there's something unfinished in this moment. It's as if the wild itself is holding its breath, waiting for something else, some sign of assurance that the leopard is truly ready to return to its world, to the life it once knew. Jocko knows that the leopard's survival isn't certain. The wound may heal, but the scars, the memory of the injury, will follow the animal wherever it goes. He knows that recovery is never just physical, it's emotional too. The animal may have its body mended, but the vulnerability of the experience will remain. The leopard pauses, turning its head back toward the place where Jocko stands. For a brief moment, their eyes meet. The gaze is soft, not filled with fear, not filled with desperation, but something more difficult to define. It's as though the animal is acknowledging him, the human who has been its quiet companion through the darkest moments, the one who stood by when it couldn't stand at all. There's no aggression in the look, no distrust, just a moment of recognition, of shared understanding. It's a soft, brief acknowledgement that says everything, that in its pain, its suffering, its healing, it has never truly been alone. Jocko doesn't move. He simply watches as the leopard's eyes linger on him for a moment longer. The air is thick with the quiet weight of the moment. This is the final exchange, the last look. There is no need for words. None are necessary. Jocko feels it in his chest, a quiet, steady emotion that is as much a release as it is a reminder of the fragility of life in the wild. He understands that the leopard must move on now. It is time for it to return to the life it knows. The bond between them, though forged in the quiet spaces of care and trust, cannot be kept. The leopard has its path to follow, and Jocko has his own journey ahead. The leopard turns away then, its body moving smoothly, its tail flicking gently as it steps into the tall grass. Each movement is quieter now, more sure. The landscape stretches before it, wide and open, a world that once seemed distant and now feels within reach. Jocko takes a step back, giving the animal space, knowing that its journey is still uncertain but that it is no longer his to control. The leopard moves farther, disappearing into the undergrowth, its form becoming one with the wilderness, as though it had never been anything but part of this land. The soft wind stirs the grass, the sound of it carrying a quiet sense of finality. Jocko remains standing, his eyes fixed on the spot where the leopard disappeared. The weight of the last look hangs in the air, the final connection between them. It is a simple thing, this moment, not a farewell, not a goodbye, but a quiet recognition of what is past and what is yet to come. The leopard will never forget the care it received, and Jocko will carry the memory of it, of this fragile trust, long after the animal is gone. The plains are still now, the last light of the sun fading into twilight. Jocko takes one last glance at the empty space where the leopard stood. There is a quiet sense of peace, not because of the outcome but because of the bond that had been shared. The wind moves through the grass again, a soft reminder that the world is always turning, always moving forward, and that some things are meant to be set free. In the distance, a herd of antelope grazes peacefully, unaware of the quiet story that has unfolded in the land beyond. The leopard is out there now, returning to its place in the wild, but for Jocko, the weight of this moment will linger, the memory of the last look, the quiet exchange between them, etched into the landscape of his heart. The day has settled into a quiet, golden warmth as the sun begins to lower behind the horizon. The leopard has spent the last few hours moving cautiously through the tall grass, testing its legs, feeling the ground beneath its paws. It is stronger now, more sure of itself, though its movements are still slow and deliberate. Each step it takes is measured, its body moving with the grace and caution that is natural for a creature returning to its home. Jocko stands a few yards away, his gaze fixed on the animal, but he doesn't approach. The time for intervention has passed. There's nothing left to do but watch. The leopard has healed enough to leave, to go back to the wild, to find its place again. But it will never forget the hands that helped it, the care that brought it back from the edge. The wind moves through the grass, a soft rustling that fills the silence between them. The leopard pauses, its head turning slightly toward Jocko, its eyes meeting his once more. There is no fear in those eyes now, only something quieter, more complex. It is as though the leopard knows this is the moment. It is time to leave, to continue its journey alone, and yet it still lingers for a heartbeat longer. This is the unspoken goodbye, the moment when a creature leaves the safety of human care to face the wild once more. There is no need for words, no grand gestures. It is a quiet, mutual understanding that passes between them, a connection that has been forged over days of trust and vulnerability. Jocko feels it in his chest, the weight of the moment. His heart is steady, but there is a tinge of sadness, a quiet sorrow that lingers in the air. This animal, so fierce and independent, has trusted him, and now it is leaving. The wild calls, and the leopard must answer. There is no room for sentiment in the wild. The world will not wait for this animal to heal completely. There is no guarantee that it will survive, but there is hope. Hope that it will find its way, that it will continue its life in the world it belongs to. The leopard turns, its body rippling with strength, and with one final look at Jocko, it slips back into the long grass. Its movements are fluid and graceful, and in that moment, the bond between them feels like the softest thread, stretching but never breaking. The leopard is free now, its journey not over but just beginning again. Jocko watches as it disappears into the wild, his heart both heavy and light. The weight of the goodbye is in the silence that follows, in the absence of the animal's presence, and in the knowledge that it will live on, wild and free. The air is still now, the only sound the soft whisper of the wind. Jocko stands alone, his eyes scanning the space where the leopard had been, the place now empty but not forgotten. The quiet remains, but there is no sorrow, only a quiet peace that settles in his chest. The leopard has gone, but it will carry with it the memory of the care it received, and in some way, Jocko will carry it too. The quiet, unspoken bond between them is now a part of the landscape, woven into the fabric of the wild. As the sun dips below the horizon, the land fades into twilight. The wind stirs the grass one last time, and Jocko takes a deep breath. The leopard's journey continues, but for now, all is still. The world keeps turning, the cycle of life moving forward, and in this moment, Jocko knows that the bond they shared was enough. The wild is vast, but in the quiet, there is always a place for such quiet moments of connection.